Hi, welcome to Art of Academia, a weekly podcast featuring interviews with leading scientists and insider takes on life in academia, hosted by Komal and Madan, researchers from Cancer Science Institute, Singapore.
Oh, I have waking up subscription finally.
Whoa.
And I'm loving it.
Nice.
My days have been much better already.
What are you listening to?
A lot of random things. So, I'm trying to do the introductory course. That's ongoing. And then apart from that also...
Are you doing that every day or?
It has just been 3 days.
Oh, but one a day, I suppose. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I would urge you to go through the full introduction. I think in the middle it probably gets like the way it has structured without spoiling it too much, if that's a thing, is like in the beginning you're just doing mindfulness, breath work, practicing, and he's introducing meditation as a concept. So there, I think while it might be hard to do it in the sense that you might get distracted, so you have to come back to the breath, it's fairly easy to understand. And this goes on for half the course, but halfway along he switches it into sort of the non-dual meditation, which is more of like, open awareness, that kind of stuff. I don't know how it's going to be for you because, we talked about this. We think maybe you have sort of experienced that, so maybe that comes easier. But at least for me, that was quite challenging. Like conceptually, it's hard to understand. And now you no longer know whether you are doing what you're supposed to do. So I think that can be very frustrating. And I assume that's where a lot of people give up. So
I
just
see.
to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Like, don't let that get to you, I guess.
Let's see. Okay. I'll see when it...
Okay. Should we talk about the camping thing?
Sure.
Because we said we'd do life updates, right? This one I consider as a win. Yeah.
Oh, I also plan to go to Kadai
Kodaikanal. This time.
with Anjali and Sakshi.
Oh, I don't know who the second person is.
School friends.
Okay.
She is actually
That
my
should be fun.
oldest friend. We were friends since we were 7 years old.
Damn.
How long is that?
20 years?
Nere. Oh yeah.
You're 27, bro. You're
Right.
soon to be 27.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years.
Insane.
That's crazy. What the fuck? Yeah. Camping. So
Was this your first camping experience?
This was.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been camping before.
Oh my god, I did not know that. All right.
Wait, I thought I told you.
I mean, I knew you were into about camping, but more so about the campfire, which we couldn't. But next time we will.
Yeah.
But I did not know it was your first
Yeah,
time.
no, this wasn't my first time. We've never did camping before.
Okay. Okay, sounds fun then.
So it was
Right.
pretty good, given that. Do you have anything to share about that? Or is it just like to other people, it's like, oh yeah, we went camping, whatever.
No, it was definitely quite nice. Like, I did not expect this. Even though we were right next to the road, but the beach on the other side was just so cool.
That's quite funny because when I was sharing the pictures, I constantly had to explain why there are lights behind us. Like I told them I'm going camping.
Yeah.
Why do they see street lights in the
And then you
background?
can't tell them that we ordered pizza.
I told them that. Like, it's funny. But,
It is quite funny. I loved it. It was just a nice hybrid.
Yeah, it was
a
very
nice
good.
taster.
Like I think I'm saying this now. I don't know if I actually do it, but I want to add it to the stack of things I do somewhat regularly because it's like inexpensive once you have the tent.
Absolutely. Now we have the tent. Yeah.
Then you just
And
need
because
some
sometimes
food.
you just don't know what to do. Let's just go camping.
True, and it doesn't even have to be like a big 6 people thing where you're like planned out activities and all. Maybe you just go to chill one day.
Yeah.
Like the other guy.
Exactly.
Although he was on his phone, probably scrolling
Whatever was
TikTok, it's
happening,
not the
but
best
fine.
use.
Yeah.
But better than doing that in your room, I guess.
We went for a swim at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
That was the first for me.
That was
I had
insane.
never done that, which was so cool. And then just the fact that, you can just come back and sleep here. That's your home is right there.
Yeah. Content today. What we're talking about
Yes,
is pretentious title. Are you ready?
I am.
It's plans versus urges.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do
Okay,
definitions first.
right.
Plan. Right? This one very easy to understand. Anything that you intend to do, for whatever reason you've decided this is worth doing.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you have decided is worth doing, right? For whatever reason, it aligns with your values. This is your goal. Whatever. So you've decided that, and usually, I guess, over a long period of time. That's what I'm talking about here. Something. It's not just a one day thing that you do and you're done with. So that is a plan. On the other hand, you have an urge, right, which is not really something you have to very consciously think about. It's just like spur of the moment. I feel like doing this. Very instantaneous feeling kind of a thing, right? And these two, they can be at odds so often, right? But wait, before we get into that, I do want to give a prelude to that. So I was just thinking about them, and on some level, right, they are both basically thoughts, right? A plan is just you thinking over and over again. Yes, I should do this, or this is something I thought I would do, so I should do this. Like different variants of it. And an urge is just a thought that comes up also randomly. Like you're doing something, and then you have this thought that, oh, I feel like doing this instead, right? So on some level, they are both thoughts. Given how much we like to talk about spirituality and stuff, you do have to take into consideration that thoughts are like impermeable ultimately, right? So you could, if you were like if you were the Buddha, right, you would say both are useless. Don't indulge in them, right? Then you just go to a life of, I guess, meditation. You just like meditate on the fact that these things are like ephemeral, and then you don't do anything in life, which I guess is fine. That's how some people live, right? Monks and whatnot. But we are not those people, right? So maybe it's useful to know that, like on some level, these things, they are impermanent, right? They come up, they're a bit random. They don't need to have like any purchase on what you do. And that's useful when I guess things get out of hand, that insight. But at the end of the day, we've decided that no, we do want to take them seriously. I do want to have some plans that I want to work towards, and there are some urges I want to fulfill. That's the prelude. Okay, so the main problem, right, is that if you think of them as sets, like mathematical sets, I feel like they're very separate and they very rarely intersect, right? So the things that I plan about and things that I want to do, they very, very rarely overlap with the urges that I feel to do on a random given day, like randomly. Okay, so I can just give you an example. Like a plan might just be, what's a good one? What's a very difficult one? Maybe paper, right? Like trying to get this paper out. That's a plan. And often that involves difficult work, right? Like all of the steps you don't want to do, but you have to do in order to get it done. And an urge can be something like you want to play a video game, right? It comes up spontaneously and is very compelling. But you often don't want to do that. You don't have a plan for it. And in fact, you might have a plan to not do it, right? It might explicitly go against it. So these two feel like they are very, very separate. But there is an intersection. It's small. All the things in that intersection, they are like immensely gratifying. Like whatever things that do fall in the middle, it's just an absolute pleasure to do them.
Yeah. Like for you, I am thinking about your long-term plan of being a nice, good writer. And I think like a lot of the different urges that you do have, even though you jump from one to the other, this sort of blog versus, reading this, let's do podcast, all of those sort of come in the same basket, I feel.
Yeah.
I guess that's the sort of intersection you were talking about, I guess.
Yes. So those are exactly the kinds of things that feel very satisfying, right?
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing, like because of the way I approach this writing project, I rarely force myself to write. Like there is no thing in my head of I'm going to write every day. Although sometimes I do, I very quickly give up.
Yeah.
So whenever I do end up writing, it is out of like an urge to write. But it just nicely fits into that greater plan that I had.
Right.
So it's, to me, that's really in the middle. And it just feels so good, right? Like for some reason, that's like one of the most satisfying, most satisfying is a bit much, but like top 5 satisfying experiences in life, right? So I was just thinking, like, what the hell? The more things should be like that. Why aren't they like that? This is ridiculous. I don't accept. So that's the problem, right? And I want to talk about how we can have more things in the intersection, like bring those two circles closer.
Right. Okay. I mean, again, I'm trying to think of different urges. Can we just like talk about a few different urges?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So, if I think of urges,
let's do both. Let's do like 2-3 examples of long-term plans that we have, for example, and a few urges.
Okay, so long-term plans. One that you mentioned, I want to be like B is not a good word, but I want to do more writing and definitely do more speaking, which this is part of.
Yeah.
So that's one plan. Then there is also this plan of getting better at programming, which is a very vague definition, but I think it's good to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Right now, the thing that takes up a lot of my attention is still surprisingly plotting. Right? How plotting or like making things look good, right? Which is quite funny. But yeah, that's one aspect. What else? I think even science actually, it is a long-term project. Like get better at doing science, whatever that means. Like ask better questions, get better at solving those questions.
Yeah.
Eventually, also have the publishing thing as part of it. But yeah, like basically test out whether science is for me and like take a serious effort at it. I
Yeah.
feel like I haven't really done that.
Right.
So that is definitely
What does a
long-term-
serious effort there mean?
a serious effort means just okay, maybe effort is not what has been lacking. It's more like there hasn't been enough things, enough like gears in motion to feel like this is like, oh yeah, I'm like working on this, I'm getting some real-time feedback. It sort of feels like I didn't even get to play the game on some level, and I don't know why that is, but I feel like lately I'm getting there. Maybe because like it feels like things are closer to a end, or like at least you can see the end now after like 3 years of trying, and maybe a lot of factors come together, but I feel like now at least I'm able to play the game somewhat. I get the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some feedback, because until now that was not the case. It was
Right.
like there's this thing I want to do.
Yeah.
I do random things, but it just goes out, nothing comes
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So that was 3 plans from my side.
For me, one of course is art. Again, I have not really thought it very well what this means. Right now, I'm just learning, trying new things. At one point, it would be awesome to have a gallery and things like that. But again, what that consists of, that's a little vague.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
a one
yeah.
like major pillar that I want to do. Another thing would be, I think I would not put research. I think I have sort of made that idea clear in my head. I would not put it. I would put social work though, that I've been talking about quite for a while as well. Yeah, again, here also things are not very clear, but I'm sure I want to do this and
Yep.
it's gonna start sometime soon. What else? Long-term plans.
It also doesn't have to be like long term, as in doesn't have to be 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
It can be 1 year also.
Sure,
It can be 6 months also.
sure.
Although I did say everything that was like 10-20 years down
Right,
the line.
right. Yeah. Let's see. Let's say be good at communication. This is something not I'm working on at all, and I just came up with it. But this is something that keeps coming to me once in a while.
Okay.
Given that I want to be a lecturer, this is the most important skill to have.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Exactly. So yeah, let's count that.
Okay, let's count that. Okay, then urges. Oh, God. Okay. So let's see. I said a few already, like playing video games, right? That's a very constant one that keeps coming back. It's more fresh in my brain because I spent like last night also staying up to play. But other things can be, sometimes there is like a literal itch in my brain to like learn something. So, and I've noticed this with, I have a few outlets that I tend to go towards. So one of them is like Code Academy, which is
Yeah.
how this whole coding thing even started.
Yeah.
Because of the way they have set it up. It can be like very, very video game like if you wanna, where there's like a bunch of tasks you do that are like already designed, right? It's very a closed environment. All the information you need is right there.
Yeah.
You go, you look at the problem, you figure it out, and then instantly you get the reward. Like you finish this, blah, blah, blah. Everything is tracked. It's just like a very closed, confined, rewarding system. And I like to engage with that, right? That's how I probably learned all the coding that I know. That's one. Sometimes it's also like YouTube videos. I'm watching like random lectures on things that I will never use, never even think. But there is like an urge, and
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
the itch, and then it does scratch that. I'll add if something comes up. You want to go?
Social media and like YouTube videos, like random things. For me, sometimes travel. It's like, oh, look at something or read something or something just happened and you're like, oh, I really want to go there.
Yeah.
Apart from that, also just picking up random hobbies. Like ukulele, I got. It's just like, I need to
That's a
get this
good
thing
one.
and let's
Exactly.
just want it and then we'll see how things go. I have started embroidery.
Whoa.
Again, it's not regular, but I got it like very recently, started a little bit. So that's quite fun. I think, yeah, artsy related. A lot of different things keep happening. At one point, did pole, which was also kind of an urge, I guess.
True.
Just wanted to do like more physical things, more things, because I think that sort of stemmed from salsa. And that was like, oh, this makes me feel sexy, and I just want to sort of follow that. I want to get more of it.
Yeah.
What else? I right now have the urge of sort of getting into some group sport. Yeah, but
Is
that's
this
just
because
something.
of the running thing?
A little bit, yes. Even before that, remember, I think that was it started last year in December when I watched that football FIFA final.
Oh, okay.
I remember very clearly that is when it started, because that match just seemed like, oh my god, they're having such a good time.
Yes.
Just that feeling of that bonding is something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really want to experience that.
That's a good one. Like
Yeah.
sports is one of those things that I've like spent some time thinking about this. Like we play football, right?
Yeah.
It's always like extremely rewarding. Like
Yeah.
it feels so good.
Yeah.
Even while playing and even when you're done. Because like
Right.
now you've done some exercise,
Yeah.
you're like congratulating yourself.
Yeah.
It's one of those activities that like are overall very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did some examples
Yes.
of urges and plans. Okay, so I had a few thoughts on how we can align them better.
Right.
So aligning urges, like making urges closer to your plans, this one we've talked about actually. So one thought I had was, at least in my case, because a lot of what I do, the urges I have, they are like knowledge work related, a decent amount of them. So how I fix that is I just do better indexing, right? So whenever I have a urge to work on something, I've done it to some extent. Now I like polish it up and make it so that I can find it again. And the idea behind that is like sometimes it's just like, oh, I feel like doing something, but I don't know what. And my process is just to like engage with random things until something clicks and then do that, right? So this search space of where I'm looking for things to do, I wish I would go back to my notes more often, because I know that if I was looking there, I will find something
Yeah.
that I have been doing and I will pick up,
Yeah.
and that way things will get done better.
Right.
But I don't do that so much. So like the first part, even though I do that, like I try to take better notes, polish them up. I think the thing that I should really work on is to go back to them more often. So especially when I feel like doing
Something new.
like it's like whatever these 3 things I had to do today, nothing is clicking.
Yeah.
What else should I do? Instead of like starting from scratch, maybe before I do that,
Yeah.
like first take a look at
Right,
what are the other 20 things you had started before. Do any of them still interest you? I mean,
Right.
if the answer is no, that's fine,
Yeah.
right? Then go
Yeah.
find something
Right,
new.
right.
But I think like just from knowing me, I think there is a good chance that I will click to something that I've already been working on.
Yeah, I think that's useful.
For aligning plans,
Yeah.
this one also is fairly intuitive if anyone has thought about this, but this is basically to keep your urges in mind when you make plans, right? So like, what are the things that you're naturally inclined towards? What are you like more likely to enjoy when you do?
Right.
Just to keep that in mind when you make a plan, because I think in a planning mode, we tend to think of ourselves as some perfect, unwavering people who just have like infinite amounts of discipline and like
Right,
just
right.
unrealistic.
Oh, yeah.
I think you shouldn't do that, right? So just keep like
I think that's a good point, yeah. Because when you said that monks and etc. would be like, oh, let's just get rid of both of them. In my head, it was just like, how do you really, put them together? And that is the best use case.
yeah.
I think this is a good strategy.
Yeah. The catch there is you have to sort of know what your urges are, which I think is not easy. I don't know if a lot of people explicitly know it or have spent that much time thinking about it. I mean, I don't know. I've only lived my life. This is sort of my observation.
Yeah.
But I think
But I think like not something very difficult to do though, if you really, sit and think about this. Because even for other people, you could, like the friends that we have, we sort of have some vague idea about, what gets them going and things like that.
yeah, but like let's say you don't know enough about what your urges are. I don't think you can just think it through and get an answer. You probably have to try.
Yeah.
Because like in my head, actually writing is a good example. It's hard to write. Like it's not always fun and rewarding to write. So I wouldn't actually put that as so if I'm planning my day, if I'm making a realistic plan, if I say I'll write every day, that's not going to work, right? But now that I've done that a few times of like having made that plan and having failed,
Yeah.
I know that I do get the urge to write, but it's not on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It comes like once a week, once a month, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's more realistic.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. And sometimes there are like, so even the programming thing, before I had ever tried programming, I didn't know that I had an inclination towards it.
Fair. Yes.
Right? So I think there has to be a fair bit of experimentation, which is where maybe giving in to some random urges you have is good.
Right.
Because then you realize, oh, you like this.
Yeah.
And then you want to probably like integrate that into your life or something. No, so we mentioned a few plans, right? And we mentioned a few urges. So if you had to right now
Yeah.
put them together or like make them closer, what would you do?
Well, some of the urges and plans I mentioned kind of are
Already
aligned. Are aligned. So I guess just work more towards that. Yeah, I guess for example for the communication one that I mentioned, a bit difficult to align with urges because chatting is something that I don't like.
You don't
as
like to
much.
chat?
I don't like to chat. I don't know why
Ridiculous,
I'm doing
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I'm actually surprised how I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You're aware I don't love to. Of course, I like to talk. It's not like I'm an antisocial person, but it's not something that gives me energy as it does for a lot of people.
But you do, I mean, at least with me you talk a lot, no?
Yeah, because there are people I'm very comfortable with. I will chat a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, actually matching that with urges would be a little tricky. You just need to practice more, right?
Yeah.
And one way is to like just practice with more people. Making a conscious effort.
I don't want to make two new plans either because I feel like there's already too many plans in life.
Yeah.
A bit overwhelmed with plans. But I did drop a few plans that I realized was not at all aligned with my urges.
Right.
So one was fairly controversial. Conference. I decided not to go. So for context, CSI, the institution that we are part of, gives $10,000, at least for students, to go on conferences, right? And everyone's very supportive that you use this. Dennis also has reached out to me personally. And he was like, oh, you should do a conference. And in the beginning, I was like, yeah, they're giving you $10,000.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to like go out, get some exposure, travel a bit, get some feedback on your project. Why not, right? But then I thought about it. So first, it's like, I feel like the project is not really in a place where it can benefit from a lot of feedback. You sort of have to force a story. And then I just think it's not at a stage where the feedback is critical. But the second more important thing is all the stupid paperwork that has to go into that of like looking for a conference, going through the motions, getting the visa, whatever. And at the end of the day, I don't actually like traveling that much. Like I would go, I'd love to go, but if I have to plan everything myself and then I'm going for like a conference and then I have to like plan events to do things, that's not me. Like that's not really something that I would like actually enjoy. Yeah, so it just felt like a very misaligned plan.
I see.
So to me, that's a good example of something I would drop.
Right. Cool. I mean, you can still do it later, given
Yeah,
your
yeah,
first
yeah.
point, maybe just take your time and just do it later when you think it is important and useful.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the other end is also true, right? You have to drop urges that sometimes don't align with your plans. This is fairly relatable, I guess. Nobody wants to binge TikTok for 3 hours. Yeah, the problem with this whole project is that it's hard to see progress. I think I'm now formalizing it or giving it names and all that. But on some level, we're all trying to get better at like making these two things better, right? At least I feel like I have been trying that in different ways for a very long time. And I think it's hard to notice that you are getting better at these things because when you're like so zoomed in on life, like even now that I'm saying I'm better, there will be so many plans that I will like hold very dearly to my heart that I absolutely cannot see myself in the future dropping, but I will drop them.
Right.
Or they will fail even. Like they don't go according to plan, right? And on the other hand, again, there will be like so many urges which I might think, oh, I've gotten over it, or like, I don't do that anymore. But you will like give in to them.
That's just life.
Yeah, it's just life.
It's just life.
But you have to like sort of not let that get in the way and keep going.
Yeah. In this like T1 time, you have these plans, you have these urges, you're trying to align them. And then whatever is the T2, your plans are changed, your urges are changed, but maybe you're just still trying to think of ways to align them for that like future Madan.
Yeah. Like it
Like
just
what
feels...
more can you do?
Yeah, exactly. What more can you do? Not much.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I feel like over time, like you do get better at aligning things.
Right.
Like you can almost see like two kinds of people. There are some people who are like so obsessed with their plans that you can see that they're like suffering
Yeah.
day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
There is almost like no joy. If any joy they get, it's only when like they accomplish the goals that they have set for themselves, like people who study too hard or like trying to do too many things,
Yeah.
very career oriented, blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, in undergrad, especially at least in India, you have this batch who takes pride in not doing any of that, right? Like they are saying fuck all to the whole
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
They will just like smoke weed every day,
Yeah.
get drunk, or it doesn't even have to be weed, right? Like you can do useless shit in many different ways.
Right.
And of course, they don't think of it as useless shit, right? They think of it as like living life in the moment,
To the
right?
fullest,
Giving
yeah.
into your urges.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, like if you're in those extremes, you don't really care about the other side of things, and then you don't have this problem. But I feel like I've fallen solidly in the middle.
Yeah.
And the contradiction stares you very strongly in the
Right,
face. Like
right,
you
right.
have these grand plans, but you want to do these dumb things.
Right.
So what the fuck
What
do you
to
do?
What the hell?
Yeah, it's-
I mean, at least for me, I do think you do need some plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do need some ideas that you're building towards. You know me as well. Like even I like to do like, oh, I want to do this. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow and shit like that. But I think really at every moment you do have to think both ways. And even if even if things are changing, that's fine. But at least at this point, you do need to have some things that you're walking towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That we move on to the content recommendation.
Oh,
I found a nice tweet that
nice.
actually goes along with this. Let me find it. It was basically some Japanese art professor.
Oh.
We'll find his name. He traveled to Spain.
Yeah.
Okay, and he went to this. I think Spain has a lot of these churches / like religious buildings.
Yeah.
Right. So one of those. I don't remember exactly what it was. He went to visit there. So this was done by some very ambitious architect guy who had started sculpting stuff out of stone, but he couldn't finish the project. It was very ambitious. He died or whatever. So it's like incomplete. So I think the people there had then taken up this on their hands. Like there was a community there who decided they will finish what he started. So this Japanese art professor he's just traveling. He's decided to visit this place. He goes sees, and he just absolutely like falls in love with the sculptures there. He's like so impressed, so drawn towards it that he basically converts himself to like a Catholic. He changes his religion. He decides to like move there full time, and then like he just wants to like do that. And then I don't know if this was immediate or after a while, probably after a while. But people were also like so taken aback, not taken aback, but like in a good way, like so blown away by his dedication to it. They made him like this chief sculptor of the whole project.
Oh,
Some
damn.
guy from Japan who came. He learned the language. He had to learn Spanish.
Oh my god.
Right? So he
That
just
is
did
really impressive.
exactly. He just did all this, and he did that for like 25 years. And I think the project is like now completed or something. But yeah, he went there randomly. He had an urge, if you will, so strong that he
Right.
just planned his entire life around it. And then the best part, he stuck to the bit. Right? He
Right.
committed to the
Right,
bit for
right.
like 25 years.
Insane.
That just
That's
blew my
so
mind.
cool.
Yeah. I was like, damn, that's one hell of a story. Because imagine, like, okay, in the beginning, sure, he was very, the feeling was so strong that he didn't have to think much about
Right.
anything. But imagine after 10 years.
10 years, exactly.
There's no way, like,
Yeah.
every day he felt it, right? There was a very strong of the reverse thing where now he has a thing that he has committed to, like a plan, and then he has to stick to it. And he stuck to it.
Yeah, I mean, wait, what did he do before? He was
He was an art professor
art professor.
in Japan or something.
How did he even have the skills for all this?
I guess I don't
Just
know.
insane.
Maybe he
Yeah.
did some sculpting before. I didn't read that
Possibly,
much
yeah,
into
possibly.
detail.
No, like, what I'm thinking is, if you really have the heart and soul in something, if whatever your plans are, if they really align with your values, something you really want to do, I don't think I mean, you might fail. Of course, it's possible that you won't succeed, but you would really try, and you
Yeah.
would not get bored. Like maybe this guy who just really had his heart in it.
Yeah.
I really want to do it. Like, of course, it's tiring, it's not working, whatever. But now I have put in this much effort, and I want to see it till the end.
Yeah.
Which is a really amazing feeling to have, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a short clip, but it was very compelling to watch.
Yeah.
And he is speaking in Spanish, which is also
Nice.
interesting. But yeah, basically
That's so
changed his whole life around it. Oh yeah, I actually found it. Damn.
Nice.
His name is Etsuro Sotoo,
Hmm.
chief sculptor of La Sagrada Familia, the unfinished basilica that someone called Anthony Gaudi started in 1882. Yeah, so he's just working as a art professor in Kyoto. He visited Barcelona, and he was so awed that he moved to Spain and he hasn't left.